Good morning, guys. Welcome back to the Daily Shlog. We are here. It's actually morning this time, which is nice. We're getting after it. Mr. Zach Sheets is pushing some bikes out. He just got done, I think he's done working on this little Honda 150. Working on the carburetor. Just wasn't starting that good. I think the valves are actually okay, but the carb was a little bit gummed up. We also got the tires, or Zach got the tires on CJ's bike. So the last couple things we got to do to get that thing race prepped is new grips, new shields on the handguards, straighten the handguards, and then go through all the spokes. And I think we're done. We'll do one last check on it as we go through it before we give it back to CJ. And then on to the next project. I'm not sure exactly whether that's going to be. We do have to put a countershaft seal in this Kawasaki KX450, so that'll be good. Let's see what else. Lots of things going on. I'm just trying to figure out what's next. Probably going to start today on this CRF450RX. This is a giant project that's going to be a lot of fun. Full top end, just for maintenance, no blown up stuff in this one. But full top end, and then full suspension service, front and rear, new tire and mousse on the front. We got new throttle cables, new clutch cable. Anyway, we got a pile of work to do to that, so it's going to be awesome. Getting that ready for a race season for a guy, Mr. Ed Dugan. Ed, thank you so much for the work. Really appreciate it. He wants to have his bike tip-top for this coming season, and that's the way to do it. You just go through the whole thing, replace everything that might fail, and yeah, make sure it's awesome. It's got 100 and something hours on it, so it's time. But yeah, it's gonna be a great day, guys. Let's get on with the Daily Shlog. All right, guys, so it's time to put some grips on. And I just want to voice an opinion about ridiculousness, in my opinion. So this is a European motorcycle. These handguards were sold for most likely a European motorcycle. I mean, there's not a lot of Harley Davidsons running handguards, and in general I would say the European Union runs metric equipment, and pretty much everything on this bike is metric. But when I grabbed an 8mm Allen to try to loosen this. It's too small. Okay, no big deal. I'll grab the next size up, a 10. Are you kidding me? I got to use a 3/8. All right, highway dirt bikes. You guys make great handguards. To me, they're a little heavy and bulky. Whatever, but they are super duper strong. Buy some stinking metric bolts. It's absolutely ridiculous. I know that's a tiny little thing. It's not that big a deal, but really it's just annoying. Yeah, everything should just be metric. Everything. It doesn't make any sense. Also, that might be a big enough bolt. So we're going back on with ODIs because he wanted similar grips to the stock ones, and these are awful close, half waffle ODIs. Pretty much, all the KTM Huskies are all come with lock-ons. I'm a huge fan of lock-on grips. I've shown this before, but we got to cut this end off because we got that bark buster. So let me show you. I'm going to show you both ways I do it. One way is with the step bit. I'm going to grab that now, and then I'll show you with the bench grinder when we do the other side. All right, step bit method. Step bit. Go into the middle of it. There we go. Take our ridiculously large bolt. Alright. So, there's Zach Sheets using his anger to start the mini bike from a very high vantage point. Oh gosh, it might start. Oh boy. There it is. Alright, so grip all ready to go. I don't have the cam on it yet, but that's okay. So now I'm going to take it, bench grinder on. There we go, all nice and clean. I'll trim up the little rubbery guys just for aesthetic purposes, but there you go. Well, that's the other way that you can do that. That way ends up with kind of a cleaner end, honestly, than the step bit, because it takes off that little rubber lip and all. But they both work good. A lot of people don't have bench grinders. You know, they're more expensive than a good step bit. Yeah, there you go. So I'm gonna install this thing, and then we're gonna probably put the shields on, and then we'll do some spoke tightening. I'll show you guys how we do that. Alright guys, time to tighten up some spokes. I've done a video on this. I'll try to remember to put a card right up here if you guys want to watch that video just on spokes. But I'll give you the quick rundown. Basically, you want to do every third spoke around and then move to the next one, and every third spoke, then move to the next one, 3 times around to get them all tight. By doing that, you're tightening on one side, then the other side, then the other side, then the other side, and you won't get the wheel all super out of whack by going around. If you just start on one spoke and go around, you will end up with the wheel all over the place. So, super duper easy. I just pick next to the rim lock, go around once, then move to the next one, go around twice, the second time, move to the next one, and you're good. So, gonna do that right now, front and rear, and then put the skid plate back on this thing, and then we're done, and he's ready to go racing. Alright, so we got CJ's bikes done, and now I'm getting ready to work on an older KTM SX, but check this out. Mr. Sheets is working on Mr. Dugan's CRF450RX, which is a super cool bike, and really, really likes it. This is kind of cool because I haven't actually seen the inside of a new Honda motor in a while. It's a little bit different than it used to be, which is kind of cool. Still a unicam, but instead of having only 3 lobes, it's got 4, so that's kind of cool. Let's take a look at the auto decompression. It's kind of the same idea, obviously. Quick little learning for everybody. When someone talks about the auto decompression on a modern 4-stroke, this is what they all kind of look like. There's this weight that when it's under rest, it swings back in, stays tight, and that little bump right there is what rolls around and hits the exhaust. It hits the exhaust, one of the exhaust valves, and it opens it up just a little bit to allow it to decompress, so it makes it easier to kick or turn over with the starter. But then as soon as the motor starts, if you watch, I'll try to get that focus, it goes like that, and see how it's sucked back in, it goes full compression. So that's how that works. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool head, so that's awesome. We're just doing this as just a maintenance deal. Everything looks good on it. We're going to do that. New cables, throttle and clutch. Going to service the suspension. Anyway, it's going to be awesome. And look, I'm making Zach work on another 4-wheeler for a second. Well, it's the same 4-wheeler, but he's still working on it. It's awesome. Yeah, I'm making a cup of coffee for us right now, and then I'm going to pull this KTM up here and see why it has no power. I'm hoping that I can figure it out pretty quick. You guys right now watching, comment below what your guess is It's an 03, 04, maybe 05. Anyway, KTM 250SX, and it just does not run good up on top. He's changed the jets all over the place with zero change. It feels like it has really good compression. He's checked the reads. Everything looks good. What do you guys think it is? I'm going to set this thing down, and we'll check back in here in a second. So I've had a few of you guys ask me what it is I spray on the tires when I'm mounting them, and it is WD-40, just in a bottle. I buy it by the gallon because it's cheaper that way. And I've told some people about that, and they always, like, why WD-40? Because it's too slippery. Because some people worry, about the tire spinning inside worry about the wheel spinning inside the tire, especially on a wheel like this that doesn't have a rim lock. This is off of some dual sport. I'm not sure exactly what it is. The guy just brought it in as a wheel, but that's why I use WD-40. Is WD-40, quick little information for you all. It's the WD stands for water displacement, and it was the 40th version that they tested, and they used it for aircraft, actually, for keeping the fog off of windscreens in aircraft back in like World War I or II, probably II, anyway. And so it has nothing to do with lubrication. It's actually a terrible lubricant in the long run. It works good for a little bit, but then it dries up. If you've ever put it on door hinges or things like that, you probably notice that it goes away and then they squeak again. It's because it's not made to lubricate. And so that's why I use it on tires. It works really good for cleaning things also, but I use it on tires because it helps lube it to get it on, and then it dries up, and then the wheel sticks inside the tire, so it doesn't stay lubed all the time. So that's why I use WD-40. I like it. Also, it's super cheap, and if you're like me, it smells good, so that's awesome. Well, that tire's done. Now we are on to the SX, 250SX, super clean bike, like really, really clean motorcycle. But like I said, complaint from the customer is that no matter what he does with the jetting, no matter what he does with any of it, it just runs like crap. I had you guys guess below. I don't know what those are yet, so I'll check. Whoever gets it right, I'll pin your comment to the top. But my guess is it's electrical, partially because of that. You gotta wonder what's going on when you see the cork gasket. The customer, after I quizzed him about jetting and things like that and whatever, and then I went down the electrical path. I was like, okay, electrical things fail, spark fails, and sometimes it doesn't work when it revs up, it doesn't advance or whatever. Anyway, he told me that he did bury this thing in a whole bunch of mud and water a while back, and took that cover off, cleaned it all out. I'm wondering if maybe something didn't get shorted out. Doorbell's ringing. I gotta be right back. All right, guys, so I like a visual inspection of things if I can, and since that cork gasket's on there, and the story he told me, I just got to look at it first before we start testing some wires and, whatever. We'll get to that here in a second. But I'll pull this thing off and let's take a look inside. Coffee. Brady Metter, thank you again. So, initial impression is that there's probably something wrong with the pulsar coil, because if you take a look, you can see It's kind of rusty right up in here. It just doesn't look that great. Also, if you look at the for lack of a better word, bump on the flywheel that tells it when to spark, it just looks a little rusty also, or is rusty. Also, I can kind of turn that over pretty easy. Like, I can turn that over easy enough that actually the very next thing I'm going to do, instead of, I mean, I'm going to take the flywheel off and take a look at the stator inside there, because that needs to be done. But the next thing I'm going to do is take this pipe off and take a look inside the cylinder, because it just doesn't feel like enough compression. So, yeah, let's do that first. All right, guys, so it doesn't look awesome. It doesn't look terrible by any means. It's not all scored up and torn up, but it's definitely not what you want. I'm going to see if I can get a camera in here to take a look. Let's get some light. There we go. That's not bad. So, I don't know if you can see, but you can see that on the right there, that little mark. That's not awesome. Also, the back of the cylinder doesn't look that great. It just looks kind of polished up. Not, again, not scratched and torn up, but not awesome. All right, guys. So, we took a look at the cylinder. We saw that the piston is a little worn. You know, at least the rings are worn. It doesn't look that great. It doesn't look horrible. But I found another problem with it. Boom. Right there. That is not supposed to look like that. That's definitely rust and or shorting of wires. So, kind of a bummer for this guy, because we found two real things. It needs a top end and it needs a stator. The good thing is they're two obvious problems, so we're not like hunting around trying to diagnose something weird. So I'll give them a call, let them know. It's a super clean bike, so I think that's totally worth it. You know, put a little bit of money into the thing and get it nice. Thanks so much, guys. It's the end of the day. Time to get out of here. I just want to thank you so much for watching. If you're enjoying any of this stuff that we're doing here, please consider hitting the subscribe button. It really does make a big difference. It's also completely free, but it really helps us with YouTube, helps us with sponsorship, things like that. So it would mean the world to me if you hit the subscribe button. Also click that little notification bell. Looks like this, so that you know when we do new videos. I love you guys. You know what I'm going to say. I want you to get out, spread the gospel of two wheels, and I desperately hope that what we are doing here at Highland Cycles is inspiring you to get out and ride your dirt bikes!